Welcome. If you're listening to this, you found a quiet place. Maybe you're lying down in a dim room or sitting somewhere soft while the world outside rushes past. Maybe it's late at night, or maybe it's just one of those afternoons when everything feels too loud and too fast. Either way, you're here now, and here, everything moves slowly. This is Sleepy Animal Spirits, a channel where we explore the animal kingdom together, one creature at a time, in the gentlest way possible. There's no urgency here, no dramatic music building to a climax, no breathless announcements, just calm voices, soft facts, and the kind of stories that let your mind wander without getting lost. You might be here because you're trying to fall asleep. That's wonderful. Let this wash over you like distant rain. Or maybe you're just tired of scrolling, tired of noise, and you wanted something that doesn't demand anything from you. That's what this is. You don't need to pay close attention. You don't need to remember everything. You can just listen. And if you drift off somewhere in the middle, that's exactly right. If these videos help you, if you find yourself coming back to them on difficult nights or restless evenings, you're welcome to subscribe. You can find us again whenever you need to, but there's no pressure. This will all still be here, waiting quietly, whenever you return, tonight or today, or whenever you're listening to this. We're not going to dive into one specific animal. Instead, we're going to talk about why animals themselves make such perfect companions for these quiet hours. Why the animal kingdom, with all its countless forms and endless stories, is such a good place to let your thoughts settle. So find a comfortable position. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breathing slow down just a little. And let's begin. Animals have always been with us. Not just the ones we've chosen to live alongside, the dogs curled at our feet, or the cats stretched across sunny windowsills, but all of them. The wild ones, the distant ones, the ones we only glimpse in passing or hear about in stories. Walk through any forest, any grassland, any stretch of coast, and you're walking through someone else's home. A fox might watch you from the shadow of a fallen log. A bird you can't quite see might be singing 3 trees over. Beetles are moving through the leaf litter beneath your feet. Fish are holding steady in the current of a nearby stream. Everything is full of life, even when it looks empty, especially when it looks quiet. And each of these animals, every single one, carries its own story. Not a story in the sense of a plot with a beginning and an end, but something deeper. A way of being in the world. A set of behaviors passed down through generations. A shape that fits perfectly into a particular corner of the earth. Think about how a heron stands in shallow water, completely still, waiting. That stillness is its story. Or how wolves move together across snow, their paths braiding and separating and coming back together. That movement, that cooperation, is their story. Or how a whale dives down into darkness, holding its breath, touching depths we can barely imagine. That dive, that darkness, that return to the surface, that's the whale's story too. There are millions of animal species on this planet. Some we know well. Some we've only recently discovered. Some we've probably never seen and never will. And each one is a doorway into a different way of experiencing the world. Each one offers something to think about, something to imagine, something that can occupy your mind in a gentle, undemanding way. That's why this journey is essentially endless. We could spend a lifetime exploring the animal kingdom and never run out of creatures to meet. We could talk about the great cats of the savannah, the deep-sea fish that glow in the dark, the insects that build cities underground, the birds that fly halfway around the world and back again every year. We could talk about creatures that live in ice, in deserts, in treetops, in caves, creatures that swim, fly, climb, burrow, drift, and run. And none of these stories need to be told quickly. None of them need drama. The simple fact that these animals exist, that they go on living their lives whether we're watching or not, is enough. Humans have always noticed animals. We've always told stories about them. Long before we had writing, before we had cities, before we had much of anything we'd recognize as civilization, we were watching animals and thinking about what they meant. In caves scattered across Europe, you can still see paintings made tens of thousands of years ago. Paintings of horses, bison, deer, lions, bears. The people who made those paintings lived lives we can barely imagine. But they saw these animals, and something in them needed to capture that seeing, to put it on stone walls deep underground where the images would last. We don't know exactly why they painted them. Maybe it was magic. Maybe it was memory. Maybe it was just the same impulse that makes us take photographs or sketch in notebooks today. The desire to hold on to something beautiful or powerful or mysterious. Whatever the reason, animals have lived in human imagination for as long as humans have had imagination. We've used them as symbols. We've assigned them meanings. We've borrowed their qualities, or at least the qualities we think they have, and woven them into our stories about ourselves. In some cultures, people speak of spirit animals or totem animals, creatures that represent a person, a family, or a clan. A bear might stand for strength and introspection. An eagle might represent vision and freedom. A snake might symbolize transformation, shedding old skin to make way for something new. A turtle might carry the weight of patience and longevity. Whether you personally believe in spirit animals or not doesn't really matter here. What matters is that this impulse, this need to connect ourselves with animals, appears everywhere. It crosses cultures and centuries. It shows up in myths from every continent. It persists in modern stories, modern symbols, modern dreams. Walk through any city and you'll see animals in architecture, in family crests, in sports team logos, in jewelry, in tattoos. The lion and the unicorn, the eagle and the serpent, the dragon and the phoenix, the raven and the wolf. These images mean something to us. They carry weight. In medieval Europe, noble families chose animals for their heraldry. A lion meant courage in battle. A boar meant fierce determination. A stag meant nobility and grace. People looked at these animals and saw qualities they wanted to embody, or qualities they wanted others to see in them. In China, the zodiac moves through a cycle of 12 animals: rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. Each animal brings different characteristics, different energies. People born under each sign are said to share something with that animal's nature. Again, whether you believe this literally isn't the point. The point is that humans keep returning to animals as a way to understand ourselves and each other. Even in our sleep, animals visit us. Dream interpretation, whether you take it seriously or see it as playful speculation, often assigns meanings to animals. A bird in your dream might represent freedom or a message. A snake might signal hidden fears or transformation. A dog might embody loyalty or protection. Our subconscious speaks in these images, borrows these forms. And at night, when we look up at the sky, we see animals there too. Imagine lying on your back in a field somewhere far from city lights. The grass is cool beneath you. The air is soft. You can hear insects humming in the distance, a sound like the earth breathing. And above you, scattered across the darkness, are more stars than you usually see. Not the handful you glimpse between buildings, but thousands of them, a whole river of light. People have looked at these same stars for thousands of years, and because the human mind looks for patterns, looks for meaning, looks for stories, they connected the dots. They drew lines between stars and saw shapes. And so many of those shapes were animals. There's Leo, the lion, sprawling across the spring sky. There's Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, the great bear and the little bear circling the North Star. There's Scorpio, the scorpion, with its curved tail. There's Taurus, the bull. There's Cancer, the crab. There's Pisces, two fish swimming in opposite directions, bound together. Each of these constellations comes with stories. Greek myths mostly, but the patterns themselves are older. Other cultures saw different animals in the same stars, or grouped the stars differently and saw their own creatures. But everywhere, always animals in the sky. Why? Perhaps because animals were what people knew best. They were what moved through the world with purpose and grace. They were mysterious and familiar at the same time. They were powerful, and placing them in the stars made the night sky less empty, more populated, more like the earth below. When you look at Orion, the hunter, even he isn't alone. Near him, you can find Lepus, the hare, crouching at his feet, and Canis Major, the great dog, following at his heels, with Sirius, the dog star, shining brighter than anything else in the sky. These constellations mark the seasons. When certain animals appeared in the evening sky, it meant winter was coming, or spring was near, or harvest time approached. The stars were a calendar, and animals were the numbers on that calendar. So even the cosmos, even the vast emptiness of space, got filled with animal forms, because that's what humans do. We reach for what we know. We reach for what moves us, and animals move us. They've also taught us in quiet ways across the whole span of human history. Think about dogs. We've lived alongside them for something like 15,000 years, maybe longer. They've been with us through everything. Migrations, wars, the invention of agriculture, the building of cities, the Industrial Revolution, the digital age. And what have they taught us? Loyalty, maybe. The way a dog waits by the door, the way it knows your footstep, your voice, your mood. Patience too. The way a dog settles into waiting, not anxious, just present. And maybe something about joy in small things. The way a dog greets you like you've been gone for years, even if you just stepped outside for 5 minutes. Cats taught us something else. Independence, perhaps. The ability to be affectionate on your own terms. The value of rest and stillness. Watch a cat sleep in a patch of sunlight, and you see someone who has mastered the art of being exactly where they are, doing exactly what they want, without apology. Horses taught us about partnership, about the strange, powerful bond that can form between two completely different species, about trust. A horse is strong enough to kill you with a single kick, but it chooses to let you sit on its back, to respond to the pressure of your heels, the touch of the reins. That's not submission, that's collaboration. Birds taught us about migration, about navigation, about the possibility of return. Year after year, swallows come back to the same barn, the same cliff, the same nest. Arctic terns fly from one end of the earth to the other and back again. How do they know where to go? We're still learning, but they know. They've always known. From wolves, we learned about cooperation and hierarchy, about the strength of the pack. From elephants, we learned about memory and mourning, about the bonds between mothers and children, about what it means to carry the past with you. From whales, we learned that there are minds in the ocean, complex and ancient, singing songs we're only beginning to understand. Every animal we've watched closely has offered us something. Not lessons in the formal sense, not moral fables, but just examples of other ways to be, other strategies for survival, other forms of grace. And beyond teaching us, beyond symbolizing things for us, animals are also part of something much larger. They're part of Earth's breathing. Think about a forest. You walk into it, and the first thing you notice is the trees, the obvious giants. But the forest isn't just trees. It's fungi threading through the soil, connecting root to root, sharing nutrients. It's insects in the bark, breaking down dead wood into soil. It's birds in the canopy, eating insects and berries, spreading seeds in their droppings miles away. It's squirrels burying nuts and forgetting some of them, planting next year's trees. It's deer browsing on saplings, keeping some species in check, letting others grow. It's foxes hunting mice, keeping rodent populations balanced. It's owls hunting at night while hawks hunt during the day, each filling their own niche in time. Everything is connected. Everything is moving, even when it looks still. Energy flows from the sun into plants, from plants into herbivores, from herbivores into carnivores, from everything eventually back into the soil, where it starts again. And animals are the ones who move that energy around, who keep it flowing. In the ocean, it's the same. Tiny zooplankton eat even tinier phytoplankton. Small fish eat zooplankton. Bigger fish eat small fish. Seabirds dive for fish. Whales, the largest animals ever to exist, eat some of the smallest filtering krill by the thousands. And when whales die, their bodies sink to the ocean floor and feed whole ecosystems of deep-sea creatures for decades. Even in death, they give. In the desert, animals find water where there seems to be none. They dig holes that become water holes for others. They spread seeds of drought-resistant plants. They pollinate flowers that only bloom at night. They survive in conditions that would kill most other creatures. And in surviving, they shape the desert itself. In the Arctic, animals move with the seasons. Caribou migrate in herds so large they reshape the tundra with their hooves. Polar bears wander across sea ice, top predators in a landscape of white. Arctic foxes follow in their wake, scavenging what the bears leave behind. Birds arrive in summer to nest and raise young, then vanish before winter closes in. Everything pulses with a rhythm of light and dark, freeze and thaw. This is what animals do. They don't just live in ecosystems. They are the ecosystems. They're the moving parts in Earth's great machine. And that machine has been running for millions of years, long before humans arrived. And it will go on running long after we're gone. There's something soothing in that, isn't there? The idea that while we sleep, while we worry, while we rush through our days, the rest of the world is just continuing. Foxes are hunting in fields. Owls are calling in the dark. Whales are diving in the deep ocean. Wolves are howling on distant mountains. Everything in its place, everything in motion, everything ongoing. And that brings us to why we're here, why this channel exists, why we're going to spend video after video, hour after hour, exploring these animals one by one. Because there are so many of them, because each one is worth knowing, because each one has a story that can fill a quiet evening or help you drift off to sleep. Because the animal kingdom is vast and deep and endlessly interesting, and wandering through it is one of the gentlest journeys you can take. In future videos, we'll focus on one animal at a time. We'll go slowly. We'll describe how it moves, where it lives, what it eats, how it sleeps, how it raises its young. We'll talk about what it has meant to people throughout history. We'll imagine what it's like to be that animal, to see through its eyes, to move through its world. We'll meet the owl who flies on silent wings through the night, hunting by sound. We'll meet the whale who dives into darkness and sings songs that travel hundreds of miles through water. We'll meet the wolf who lives in a world of scent and howling and pack bonds. We'll meet the turtle who carries time slowly on its back and returns to the same beach where it was born to lay eggs of its own. We'll meet the octopus, that strange, intelligent creature who solves puzzles and changes color and seems to think with its entire body. We'll meet beetles and butterflies, elephants and eels, ravens and rabbits, sharks and salamanders. We'll meet animals you've heard of and animals you haven't. We'll meet animals that live near you and animals that live on the other side of the world. Each video will be a deep dive, but a gentle one. No rushing, no cramming facts, just a quiet, thorough exploration. The kind of thing you can listen to while falling asleep, or while resting, or while doing something with your hands that doesn't require much thought. And to give you a small taste of what's coming, let's talk briefly about the fox. The fox will be one of the first animals we explore in detail. And already, just saying the word fox, certain images might come to mind. A flash of red moving through tall grass, a pointed face with dark, intelligent eyes, a bushy tail held low to the ground or raised like a flag. Foxes appear in stories from all over the world. In many of them, they're clever, tricksters, shapeshifters. In Japanese folklore, the kitsune is a fox with magical powers, able to transform into human form. In European fairy tales, the fox outsmarts the wolf, outsmarts the bear, outsmarts everyone. Reynard the fox, sly and cunning, gets into and out of trouble with equal skill. But foxes are also real animals, living real lives in real landscapes. They're not as wild as wolves. They've learned to live near humans, in the edges of cities, in parks, in suburban yards. You might see one trotting down a street at dawn, or curled up sleeping in a garden during the day. They're midway between the fully wild and the domestic, comfortable in both worlds. And in the full fox episode, we'll spend time with them. We'll follow a fox through a day and a night. We'll watch it hunt mice in the snow, leaping high and diving down with its front paws, listening for movement under the frozen crust. We'll see it bring food back to its den, to its mate, to its kits. We'll imagine the den itself, dark and warm, lined with grass and fur, a safe place underground. We'll talk about how fox families live, how they communicate with sharp barks and screams and quieter sounds we don't often hear. We'll describe the fox in different seasons. In summer, when its coat is shorter and its hunting is easy. In autumn, when it gets fatter, preparing for winter. In winter itself, when it moves like a ghost through snow, its red fur bright against white. In spring, when the kids are born, tiny and blind and helpless, and the parents hunt constantly to feed them. And we'll talk about what it means to be a fox, to be small enough to be vulnerable, but clever enough to survive, to be solitary, but not always alone, to be adaptable, able to live almost anywhere, eat almost anything, and figure out almost any problem. But that's for later. For now, just know that the fox is waiting, along with all the other animals, each one patient, each one ready to share its world with you when you're ready to listen. So why are animals good company at night? Why do their stories help us rest? Maybe it's because they're distant, not in the sense of being far away, though some of them are, but distant in the sense of being separate from our daily concerns. A fox doesn't worry about work deadlines or bills or difficult conversations. A whale doesn't stress about emails or traffic or what someone said 3 days ago that still stings. Animals live in the present. They respond to hunger, to danger, to opportunity, to weather, to seasons. But they don't ruminate. They don't replay moments over and over. They don't borrow tomorrow's troubles. Listening to stories about animals can take us out of our own loops. Instead of thinking about what we have to do tomorrow or what we should have said yesterday, we think about how an otter slides down a muddy bank into water, or how a bat navigates in total darkness, or how a penguin stands on ice in the worst weather on Earth and survives. And these stories are safe. They're not about conflict between people. They're not about politics or arguments or harm. They're just about existence, about animals being animals, doing what they've always done. There's something deeply peaceful in that. It's also that animals are familiar but mysterious. We see them, or we've seen pictures of them, or we've read about them, but we don't fully understand them. We can't ask a wolf what it's thinking. We can't know what it's like to swim as a dolphin or fly as an eagle. There's always that gap, that space of not knowing, and that space is where imagination lives. When you listen to a description of an animal moving through its world, you're invited to imagine. And imagination, gentle imagination, is restful. It's like dreaming while still awake. Your mind wanders, but not in the anxious way it does when you're trying to solve a problem. It wanders in a soft, curious way. And there's also the simple fact that nature is old. Older than us, older than our worries, older than everything we think is urgent and important. Animals have been living on this planet for hundreds of millions of years. Humans have only been here for a tiny sliver of that time. Cities, technology, all of it, that's brand new. But the patterns of animal life, those are ancient. A bird building a nest does it the same way birds have built nests for millions of years. A spider spinning a web follows a blueprint written in its genes, unchanged for eons. A salmon swimming upstream to spawn is doing what salmon have always done. Before there were words for salmon, before there were people to watch them. Connecting to that kind of time, even just imaginatively, can make our own problems feel smaller. Not unimportant, but smaller, more manageable, more temporary. The world was here before we were. The animals were here. And they'll go on being here, in some form, long after we're individually gone. That's not a sad thought. It's a soothing one. It means we're part of something larger. It means the world doesn't depend on us personally to keep spinning. It means we can let go, just for a while, just for tonight, and everything will be fine. So when you listen to a story about a bear hibernating in a winter den, or a hawk riding thermals high above a valley, or a school of fish moving together like one organism, you're not just learning facts, you're stepping into a different rhythm, a slower, older, calmer rhythm. And that rhythm can carry you into sleep, if that's what you need. Or it can just give you a break, a soft place to rest your attention while the world outside keeps rushing past. Over time, as we explore more and more animals, you might find that certain ones stay with you. Maybe you'll remember the episode about the octopus because the description of it squeezing through a tiny gap fascinated you. Maybe you'll think about the owl when you hear a distant sound at night. Maybe you'll notice robins in your yard differently after we spend an hour talking about their migration and their songs. Or maybe none of it will stick in a concrete way, and that's fine too. These videos aren't tests. There's no quiz at the end. They're just here, like rain on a roof, like wind in trees, something to fill the quiet spaces. In many places around the world, people have always told stories at night, not to teach specific lessons, not to make points, but just to pass the time before sleep, to give the mind something to hold on to as it drifts. Animal stories were common in these traditions. Tales about how the leopard got its spots, or why the raven is black, or what happened when the first people met the first wolves. These stories weren't always factual. They were mythic, playful, imaginative, but they served a purpose. They connected people to the world around them. They made the night less lonely. They gave even adults permission to wonder. That's what we're doing here, in a way. Updating an old tradition. Instead of sitting around a fire, we're sitting with screens and headphones. Instead of tales about animal tricksters and gods, we're talking about real biology and behavior. But the heart of it is the same. Animals as companions in the dark. Animals as guides into sleep. Elsewhere in the world, right now, as you listen to this, animals are going about their lives. Somewhere, a fox is curling up in its den as the sun rises. Somewhere, a whale is exhaling at the surface, its breath making a tall spout of mist. Somewhere, an owl is landing on a branch with a mouse in its talons. Somewhere, a herd of elephants is walking single file to a waterhole, the young ones tucked safe between the adults. All of this is happening. All of this will keep happening. The world is full of quiet, ongoing activity, lives being lived, patterns being followed, seasons turning, and you're part of that world too, not separate from it. Even if you're indoors, even if you're in a city, even if you haven't seen a wild animal in weeks, you breathe the same air. You're made of the same elements. You're subject to the same seasons, the same cycles of light and dark. When you rest, you're doing what animals do. When you sleep, you're joining billions of other creatures in letting go for a while. Sleep is ancient. Rest is ancient. And there's no shame in needing it, no weakness in seeking it out. So if you're struggling to fall asleep tonight, if your mind won't stop spinning, if worries keep circling back, just remember, you're not alone. Somewhere, a bear is sleeping through the winter, heart rate slowed, breathing barely perceptible. Somewhere, a bat is hanging upside down in a cave, wrapped in its wings, completely still. Somewhere, a seal is sleeping in the water, one half of its brain awake, the other half resting, drifting with the current. Rest is natural, rest is allowed, and these stories, these quiet explorations of animal lives, are here to help you find it. As the night goes on, as the hours pass, we'll keep returning to this theme, the endless variety of the animal kingdom, the endless number of stories waiting to be told, because truly, we could do this forever. We could spend a lifetime exploring animals and never run out. There are insects we've never named. There are fish in the deep ocean we've only glimpsed once or twice. There are birds in remote rainforests that barely any human has ever seen. And even the common animals, the ones we think we know, the pigeons and the squirrels and the sparrows, even they have lives more complex than we usually notice. A pigeon navigates using the Earth's magnetic field and landmarks we can't perceive. A squirrel remembers where it buried hundreds of nuts, scattered across a territory it knows better than we know our own neighborhoods. A sparrow sings a song that varies slightly from region to region, dialects in bird language, passed from parents to children. Everything is deeper than it first appears. Everything repays close attention. And that's what we'll offer here, video after video. Close attention. Not frantic, not exhaustive, but patient and sustained. You might imagine this channel as a library, a very specific library where every book is about one animal. You could walk in and choose a book about dolphins and spend an evening reading about how they sleep with half their brain at a time, how they use echolocation, how they play, how they rescue each other. Or you could choose a book about beetles and learn about the thousands of species, the ones that glow, the ones that dive, the ones that roll dung into perfect spheres and navigate by the stars. Or you could choose a book about penguins and discover that there are many kinds, not just the black and white ones you picture, but penguins that live in temperate climates, penguins that nest in burrows, penguins that hop from rock to rock, penguins that toboggan on their bellies across ice. Every book in this library is calm. Every book is thorough. Every book is written for reading late at night, when you want information, but you also want gentleness, when you want to learn, but you also want to rest. And the beauty of it being a video library, a channel you can return to, is that you can revisit. If the whale episode helps you sleep, you can come back to it again and again. If the owl episode becomes a favorite, it'll still be there. Nothing is going anywhere. We're building this slowly, and it's all going to stay. Think of it like this. Every time we release a new video about a new animal, it's like adding another room to a very large, very quiet house. And you can walk through that house whenever you want. You can spend time in the wolf room, with its howling and its snow. You can move to the octopus room, with its underwater caves and shifting colors. You can rest in the fox room, with its dens and fields and soft footfalls. And as the house gets bigger, as more rooms are added, you'll have more and more choices for where to spend your quiet time. More companions to visit, more worlds to step into. This is a long project. It might go on for years, and that's good. Because there's no rush, because the animal kingdom isn't going anywhere, because there will always be another creature to meet, another life to imagine, another story to tell. Some videos will be about animals you expect, lions, tigers, bears, the charismatic megafauna that everyone recognizes. Those animals deserve their own deep dives too. There's always more to learn about them than you think. But other videos will be about animals you might not have considered. The mantis shrimp with its incredible eyes, the platypus with its strange combination of features, the slow loris with its toxic bite and enormous eyes, the axolotl that never grows up, the tardigrade that can survive in space. Every animal, famous or obscure, large or small, has something interesting about it. Some adaptation, some behavior, some story. And we'll find it. We'll bring it into the light gently and share it with you. Over time, you might start to notice patterns, themes that repeat across different species. The importance of parenting, for instance. How many animals invest enormous amounts of time and energy into raising their young? How some stay with their offspring for years, teaching them what they need to know. How others lay thousands of eggs and leave, trusting that some will survive. Or the theme of migration. How some animals stay in one place their whole lives, while others travel thousands of miles, following food or weather or ancient roots encoded in their genes. How sea turtles return to the beach where they hatched. How salmon swim upstream to the exact stream where they were born. How monarch butterflies fly to a specific forest in Mexico, even though they've never been there before, following paths their great-great-grandparents took. Or the theme of adaptation. How animals have evolved to fit every conceivable niche. How some survive in boiling water, others in ice. How some live without light, others without oxygen. How the same basic body plan vertebrate gets modified into whales and bats and humans and snakes. All of us related, all of us variations on a theme. These patterns are beautiful. They're evidence of the creativity of evolution, the deep time it takes for life to branch and diversify and fill the world. And talking about them, thinking about them, is soothing in the same way looking at fractals is soothing, or watching waves, or listening to rain. There's pattern and variation, repetition and difference, enough familiarity to feel safe, enough novelty to stay interesting. If you're still awake, still listening, you might be wondering about specific animals. When will we talk about horses? When will we get to sharks? When will there be an episode about frogs, or crows, or jellyfish? The answer is, eventually. All of them, eventually. There's no hierarchy here. We're not ranking animals by importance. We're just moving through them, one at a time, in whatever order feels right. Some decisions will be based on seasons. It makes sense to talk about hibernating animals in winter or migrating birds in spring. Some will be based on requests. If many people ask for a particular animal, we'll move it up the list. Some will just be based on whatever feels right in the moment, whatever animal is calling to us. But regardless of the order, the approach will always be the same. Slow, thorough, kind. We're not here to sensationalize. We're not here to pit animals against each other or focus on violence. We're here to spend time with them, to appreciate them, to let them into our awareness in a gentle way. And we'll always try to balance the biological facts with the imaginative and symbolic dimensions, because both matter. It's interesting to know that wolves have a hierarchy and use howling to communicate, but it's also interesting to know that wolves appear in human myths as teachers, guides, and sometimes threats, that they've been feared and revered, that they've been hunted nearly to extinction and then slowly brought back. Every animal exists in two spaces, the physical world and the world of human imagination, and both are worth exploring. A whale is a mammal that breathes air and can weigh as much as 30 elephants. But a whale is also Moby Dick, Jonah's refuge, the Leviathan of deep mythology. A raven is a bird that uses tools and remembers faces. But a raven is also Odin's messenger, a symbol of prophecy. a trickster in indigenous stories of the Pacific Northwest. We don't have to choose between these perspectives. We can hold both. We can appreciate the animal as it is in its own world, doing its own thing. And we can also appreciate what it means to us, what it represents, what it stirs in our imaginations. That's part of what makes animals such rich subjects for these videos. There's always more than one layer, always more than one way in. By now, you've been listening for a while. Maybe you're getting sleepy. Maybe your thoughts are starting to drift. Maybe you're picturing a fox in the snow, or a whale in deep blue water, or an owl perched silent on a branch. That's good. That's exactly what should happen. These images are soft places for your mind to rest. They're not demanding. They don't need you to solve anything or understand anything complex. They're just there. Like the animals themselves are just there, living their lives, regardless of whether we're paying attention. If you need to close your eyes now, that's fine. The words will keep going, a steady stream. Like a river you don't have to navigate, just float down. If you want to keep listening with your eyes open, that's fine too. There's no right way to do this. Some people like to listen to the same video over and over until it becomes familiar, the words like old friends. Some people prefer variety, a different animal each night. Both approaches work. Whatever helps you rest is the right choice. And if you fall asleep before the video ends, you won't miss anything important. There's no climax, no twist, no crucial information at the end. It's all the same level of gentle attention from beginning to end. So you can drift off whenever your body's ready, and the video will finish itself quietly, without you. Think of this as a companion for the in-between time. The time between waking and sleeping. The time when you're tired but not quite gone yet. The time when you're lying in the dark and your mind is too active, but you're too tired to do anything about it. In that time, these videos can sit with you. They can give you something to half listen to. They can populate the darkness with soft images, a bear in a den, a seal on an ice floe, a hummingbird hovering at a flower. None of these images are scary. None are loud. They're all drawn from the real world, but described in a way that's almost dreamlike. Because that's the edge we're walking here, between information and dream, between learning and resting. As the night goes on, you might find yourself in that state where you're not quite sure if you're awake or asleep, where thoughts become strange and fluid, where a sentence about a fox turns into an image of a fox, and then you're almost there with it, in the field, watching it hunt. That's a good place to be. That's the edge of sleep. And if you cross over, if you fall asleep while listening, then welcome. You've arrived where you were trying to go. And when you wake up, whenever that is, this will still be here. Other videos will still be here. Other animals waiting. This channel is a long conversation with the natural world, a slow, ongoing dialogue where we're mostly listening. And there's no end to it, not really. Because every animal leads to another animal. Every fact opens up more questions. Every ecosystem connects to another. Talk about foxes, and you end up talking about the mice they hunt, the birds whose eggs they eat, the plants whose berries sustain them. Talk about wolves, and you end up talking about deer, elk, ravens, and the entire forest ecosystem that changes when wolves are present or absent. Talk about whales, and you end up talking about krill, plankton, the ocean's food web, the carbon cycle, the deep sea. Everything connects, everything branches, And that means we'll never run out of things to say, but we'll say them slowly. We'll say them gently. We'll never rush, because rushing defeats the purpose. This isn't about cramming information into your head. This is about creating a space where information becomes soothing, where learning becomes restful. In a world that's constantly pushing you to go faster, do more, be more, stay alert, stay productive, stay engaged, it's radical to choose slowness, to choose softness, to choose rest. And animals, in their own way, give you permission to do that. They don't rush unless they have to. A cat will spend 16 hours a day sleeping, and it doesn't apologize. A bear will hibernate for months, and it doesn't check its email. A sloth moves so slowly that algae grows in its fur, and it's perfectly fine with that. We're not cats or bears or sloths. We have different needs, different lives, but we can borrow a little of their wisdom. We can remember that rest is natural, that stillness has value, that there's no virtue in running yourself into the ground. So when you listen to these videos, you're not being lazy, you're not wasting time, you're taking care of yourself in a small, quiet way. You're acknowledging that you need to rest, and you're finding a gentle way to get there. And maybe, in the process, you're also reconnecting with something old and deep. The part of you that still responds to stories, the part that's curious about the world, the part that can wonder what it's like to be something other than yourself, something wild and free and unconcerned with human troubles. That part of you is still there, no matter how long it's been, since you thought about animals or nature or anything outside your daily routine. And these videos are here for that part, to feed it, to acknowledge it, to let it breathe for a while. As we move toward the end of this introduction, let's take a moment to just be quiet together, to let the words settle, to think about all the animals we've mentioned and all the ones we haven't yet. Picture them out there right now, in forests and oceans and deserts and mountains, in the air and underground and in the spaces between. All those lives, all those heartbeats, all that ongoing existence. It's happening whether we pay attention or not. But when we do pay attention, when we take the time to really think about an animal and how it lives, something shifts. The world gets bigger. Our concerns get smaller in a good way. We remember that we're part of something much larger than ourselves. And that's a good thought to fall asleep with. The idea that you're connected to all of this, that the oxygen you breathe was produced by plants and plankton, that the water you drink has been cycling through animals and clouds and oceans for millions of years, that the atoms in your body were once part of stars, and before that, part of the first matter in the universe. You're made of the same stuff as foxes and whales and beetles and birds. You're distant cousins with all of them if you go back far enough. You share the planet with them. And for a few minutes or hours, you can share your attention with them too. So here's what's next. Here's what this channel will be. A growing collection of quiet, thorough explorations of animals, one at a time. Each video is a chance to learn something, to imagine something, to rest with something. Each video is a small gift of slowness in a fast world. If you subscribe, you'll know when new videos arrive. If you don't, that's fine too. They'll be here regardless, waiting patiently like animals do. And if you ever need to escape for a while, if you ever need to quiet your mind, if you ever just want to think about something other than your own life, you can come here. You can choose an animal. You can listen for a while. You can let it carry you wherever you need to go. Maybe that's into sleep. Maybe that's just into calm. Either way, the animals will do their part. They'll be interesting without being demanding. They'll be vivid without being violent. They'll be companions in the dark. So go ahead now. Make yourself comfortable. Let your breathing slow. Let your body relax into whatever you're lying or sitting on. Feel the weight of it. Feel how it's supporting you. You don't have to hold yourself up. You don't have to stay alert. You can let go. And as you do, picture this. Somewhere in the world, right now, a fox is walking through a field. The grass is wet with dew. The fox's paws make no sound. Its ears swivel, listening. Its nose works constantly, reading the air. It's completely focused, completely present, completely itself. It doesn't know you're thinking about it. It doesn't need to know. It's just doing what foxes do. And in the next video, we'll follow it more closely. We'll spend hours with it. We'll learn its language, its habits, its world. But for now, just knowing it's out there is enough. Just holding that image, that quiet red shape moving through tall grass in the early morning light, is enough. There are millions of moments like that happening right now. Animals being animals, living their lives with grace and purpose we can only admire from a distance. And each of those moments is a small wonder. Each is worth noticing. That's what this channel is for. Noticing, appreciating, spending time with. Not in a frantic way, but in the slowest, softest, most restful way possible. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving yourself permission to slow down, to rest, to let your mind wander through the animal kingdom with us. If you're still awake, you can explore other videos now, or you can just stay here for a little longer, letting the silence settle. And if you're already drifting, if sleep is pulling you under, then go with it. Let yourself go. The animals will still be here when you wake up. The stories will still be waiting. The quiet will still be here, ready to welcome you back. Good night.